Hello everybody, good evening and welcome to the United Stands. I'm Mark Goldbridge and this is your latest Manchester United news as Jadon Sancho appears to stand down his troops and potentially apologise to Erik ten Hag. He has deleted the tweet that has been up for the last 8 days, which basically was calling Ten Hag at worst a liar, at best, challenging the manager publicly with a social media post. It's been deleted. What does that mean? Could he now be involved for the game at Brighton, or will it be too little too late? We'll be discussing that. We've also got some amazing comments from Mike Phelan, formerly assistant coach at Manchester United, not only in the Sir Alex era, but more recently in the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era. And he did stay around when Rangnick was here as well. He only left when Ten Hag came in. Some very interesting comments there about the toxicity and issues that have existed at United in his time there. We'll get into that as well. So lots of big topics to talk about there. Topics, I should have said. But before we get into all of that, you can see from what I'm wearing and what's next to me, we are sponsored by Boohoo Man on the show. We are a little bit early tonight because I'm doing an England watch along at 7:45. So you can join me for that on That's Football. But we're sponsored by Boohoo Man. Remember what Boohoo Man is. It's Boohoo Man clothing. You can get 40% off with the code Goldbridge by scanning the QR code next to me or going through the link in the video description. Whether you're looking to be down the gym, down the five-a-side court, or just chilling around the house, or down the local, or in the shops, this is the time to liven up your wardrobe. 40% off, as I say, with the code Goldbridge. They've got all sorts there, and fantastic as always. Boohoo Man are giving us a bit of trivia as well. So here we go. I was born on the 23rd of January 1969 in the Ukraine. My first professional team was Zirka Karohrad. While at Manchester United, I won 2 Premier League titles. I know who it is. After a disagreement with Alex Ferguson, I made a controversial move to Everton in '95. In the UK, I played for Manchester United, Everton, Rangers, Manchester City. I didn't know he played for them. And Southampton. Didn't know that. I was known for my work rate, pace, explosive acceleration and powerful shots from range. And after retiring, I became a manager and most recently led a team to win the Uzbekistan Super League. I know who it is. I wouldn't have known he played for Man City and Southampton. I really never registered that. That did surprise me. It is, of course, Andrei Kanchelskis, fantastic winger in a fantastic United side that I think doesn't get enough focus, to be honest with you, that team from the early 90s. Anyway, a big thank you to Boohoo Man for supporting today's show. Don't forget, 40% off, links in the description, massive discount. You get some fantastic items of clothing through Boohoo Man. What you're waiting for, links in the description, or scan that QR code next to me. Right, a lot of people got it in the chat. Some people still think it's Nani. Somebody even said Lundberg. You're on the wrong channel. Or the right channel, I mean, we're better than everybody else, so there we go. Anyway, let's get into it. So Jadon Sancho, we don't even have to say where it's from. It doesn't have to be from The Athletic, the Manchester Evening News, the Telegraph. It doesn't have to be an official statement from Manchester United. We are tapped into this, and the reality is Jadon Sancho has withdrawn, deleted, whatever you want to do. There was a pinned tweet since last Sunday that said he was a scapegoat, that he has trained well, that he's not going to put up with lies about him. That's been up for 8 days. It's not there anymore. It had to come down at some point. Had to come down. And look, is it an admission of defeat? I don't necessarily think it is. I think it could be part of a negotiation. It's a stand down. It's a stand down from Jadon Sancho, and it had to happen because ultimately, if it didn't happen, then there is a very, very, very public statement of disrespect to the club, to the fans, and to the manager. So I applaud this from Ten Hag, from the club, from Jadon Sancho. Somehow, it's taken them 8 days, but they've got to a point of that being deleted, which I think has to be a positive. Where it goes from here, I don't know. I would imagine the conversation has been something like a bit of give and take. You give us this, and you can take that down. I don't necessarily think Jadon Sancho said after 8 days, I've made a massive mistake, please let me play again. I think if that was the case, it would have been took down very, very quickly. He's obviously stood by what he's done, and there's had to be some sort of negotiation. I would imagine that negotiation goes along the lines of this. take it down, show respect, work really hard, and we will, do everything we can to get you out of this football club. And if in the meantime we find some common ground where we work it out, we work it out. But if we don't, we'll work towards you exiting the club with us helping you and you helping yourself and helping us along the way. I think that's what it is. Crystal X says he's been pissing about in New York. You know what? I don't really get into that because I think that's just a little bit blinkered. I've seen some of the pictures of him in New York partying. There are people that think that Sancho's personal life is ridiculous. The things he does, the people he hangs around with, the parties he goes to. That was levelled at him at Dortmund, and still people wanted to pay £75 million for him. To me, it's a bit hypocritical. Aaron Wan-Bissaka was with him. I've seen people going, well, Wan-Bissaka can go to New York because he's worked really hard, but Sancho can't because he's a party boy and he can't be arsed. The fact is, nobody knows the truth about that. I'm not going to comment on it. It would be unfair to comment on it. And at the end of the day, some people want to play golf, some people want to go to parties and listen to music and, hang around. Doesn't mean they're drinking. I don't really have a problem with it. I really don't. Wan-Bissaka was there. He's been brilliant for the last 9 months. Sancho's there. He's not been brilliant for the last 9 months. So Sancho's a party animal disrespecting the club, but Wan-Bissaka's allowed to do it. Look, maybe from a PR point of view, it doesn't do him any favours, but that's not really anything I'm that interested in, to be honest with you. I've seen Harry Maguire out doing pictures and smiling at a restaurant the night after we've been battered. So, does he not have the right to go out and have a meal? I think that's not what bothers me. What bothers me is that he's taken the tweet down. I am somebody that believes in, you can't labour under a mistake or something for too long. You've got to move on. The best outcome for United is this is resolvement. Get it resolved and move on. Now, I don't know what that future's going to be. I suppose technically he could be involved against Brighton. Technically he may never play for Man United again. We'll have to wait and see about that. I expect there will be an announcement from Manchester United at some point. Erik ten Hag answered an honest question about Sancho when he was asked about it in the post-press match conference against Arsenal. I suspect he'll answer a question about it on Friday in that press conference as well. So I think there will be a statement from Manchester United. My prediction is it's going to be about working together to, benefit each other. Can you sack a player for dishonouring the club? And do you have to pay the remaining wages? I'd sack him, says Tobias. We've not heard anything about that. I'd be very surprised if he hasn't been disciplined in some way, shape or form. Whether that would lead to wages being deducted or not, I don't know. Barmer, member for 12 months, thank you very much. And Hammertown says he was obviously having a drink. Well, we don't know that. I mean, I just think sometimes it's easy to say that person's a bad person because they've pissed me off, and that person's not, who's doing the same thing, isn't a bad person because they haven't pissed me off, And I think at the end of the day, we have to look at that in a fair way. Look, Tibor, welcome to the Members Club for 31 months. I just think it's very significant that he's deleted the tweet. It might be completely against what he wants to do. He hasn't done it for 8 days. It might be something that really he doesn't want to do, and he's argued about it, but ultimately he has to do it. He's got to do it for his career, he's got to do it for his employer, he's got to do it for his manager, he's got to do it for the club. He has to take it down, and it has come down. I'm not that interested in the whys and wherefores. It had to come down. It should have come down a lot earlier. It's down now, and I think it's always been a bit of an embarrassment to everybody while it's been up. So yeah, take it down. It's gone down, and hopefully we can find, we can move on without the drama, because you know what, if it stayed up for 3 or 4 weeks, it just elongates the problem. And I think at the very minimum, United will have said to him, look, it doesn't do you any favours to keep it up. You've kept it up there for 8 days. Now take it down. You've had your say. Everybody knows what your say was. Deleting a tweet doesn't mean it was never there, as we know. Anyway, look, we'll see what happens with that. I want to move on to Mike Phelan's comments, because I wanted to keep this for the Tonight Show. Incredible. So Mike Phelan is effectively an assistant coach of Man United. He was there for the whole of the Solskjaer era. He was there for the Ronaldo return. And he's spoken about quite a lot of things. Now, some of it's obviously Mike Phelan's not going to sit down and speak badly, really directly about a player. I mean, he's not going to say this was the problem, this was the player, this, that and the other. But there's some really interesting stuff in there, especially about Ronaldo. He said, said this. Look, I liked it when Ronaldo came back. He didn't want his standards to drop. He wanted other people's standards to come up to his level. And sometimes you're going to lose a few people along the way when you do that. I remember certain times when he pushed and pushed hard and he didn't get much reaction or response from other players. And that was very frustrating. So, I mean, look, that's just an insight. I mean, I'm not shocked by that. Manchester United under Solskjaer, before Solskjaer, you know, even some games last season, heads drop. The mentality's not great. And I still think that there are some players that Erik ten Hag would admit publicly, if he could, are not to the level. And of course, Ronaldo got a bit of stick, but he obviously has very high standards. When you deal with top people, it's about them and where they can finish and where they can get to. They want to look back and go, wow, that was successful. And he probably realised, and I don't know, as I never had the conversation with him, that he couldn't do it at Manchester United. So his challenges were elsewhere. So Mike Phelan basically saying that Ronaldo's frustration ultimately came and led to his departure because the team couldn't take him where he wanted to go. And people will and did misinterpret Ronaldo's frustration as petulant, spoilt behaviour, because that's what the media and some people do. But I think Mike Phelan's absolutely spot on. Ronaldo has a rich tapestry and CV of winning through hard work and obsession to win. And at United, it wasn't replicated by the owners, it wasn't replicated by the manager's ability, it wasn't replicated by the coaches, and it certainly wasn't replicated by the players around him who just didn't want to work to that level, and it must have been very frustrating. I'm not really interested in that. It's about Solskjaer, Jose lost his job, blah, blah, blah. I'm not interested in that. Not interested in that. On Ralph Rangnick, he said, I thought it was difficult, not difficult from the point of Ralph being the manager, but the circumstances of him being the manager, it wasn't easy with it because Man United it need a caretaker manager, it needs a proper manager, and I'm not so sure that coming in as caretaker role, having been at a smaller club, I always thought it would be difficult for him to establish momentum and to sort the players out in such a short space of time. As we know, Ralph Rangnick was thrown under the bus. I don't know what conversations he had to get the role, but he tried really hard. It didn't work out in the interest of both parties. He was fantastic as a guy in the environment he was in before a manager. He does that director of football role really well. He was successful at that. Coming in as a manager, he had done that role before, but was stepping into something turbulent. He should have been the director of football, as we all know. He said, I've got a lot of respect for Ralph. It was a difficult position to take on, but he really did try and work immensely hard. He had his frustrations along the way, as a lot of us did, but he's back in the international game and he seems to be doing really well. On Ten Hag, this is what Mike Phelan had to say. Him and his coaching staff have made a difference from what was left. They are changing a lot of things and changing them quickly. There is a definite difference in standards, and you can see that. There has been great success in a relatively great success in 1 year, and I'm sure he wants to push on. It's been a little bit up and down at the start of the season, but that happens. I think they can progress and make bigger strides. They have spent a lot of money in the windows, but he needs time. Everyone needs time to put their mark on things. People forget that. But you have to win football matches. It's Manchester United. You lose one game, you call it a blip. You lose 2 or 3 in a row, it's probably a crisis. He also goes on to say, having lived it, I understand what he's going through. There is a story about Man United every day, all different mediums now to find a story. There's a lot of work to do, but he's trying. He's finding ways to find his feet, but still they need results. And then he went to go and speak about like individual players. I mean, again, I don't necessarily understand why Harry Maguire gets spoken about, but he said, look, having come to Manchester United, he did really well. He had composure on the ball. What he didn't have was a settled environment of who played in front of him, who sat alongside him. He jumped in at the deep end a little bit, but I've got a lot of respect for that. The new manager comes in and wants to change captaincy. These things happen, and he knows that. It's not nice at times when you don't know the role he's supposed to do. He's kept himself available, extremely professional. Yes, there have been talk about a move. It hasn't happened. It might still happen. I know he'll give everything to the United shirt until the moment he doesn't have that shirt on, and he's a good footballer. Yes, there are weaknesses in his game, but they were in his days at Hull. Some say you should improve your weaknesses, but I'm a believer in keeping on playing to strengths. His ability on the ball, he can read the game. He can definitely score a goal, and he's a good guy. I mean, he's one of the good guys in football. He plays for England and hopefully will do for a long time. And he turns up. He doesn't shirk his responsibilities. I mean, what I would say about that is it's a very good character reference for Harry Maguire. But when you're putting good guy and turns up in his top 5, I mean, basically, apparently, according to Phelan, Maguire's good on the ball. He can read the game. He can score a goal. He's a good guy and he turns up. So basically, he can score a goal. He can read the game, and he can carry the ball. Yeah, you can't be listing good guy and turns up on a CV of a footballer. I'd question why he gets asked about Harry Maguire anyway. But look, I thought it was a very interesting interview from Mike Phelan, and certainly I think the most interesting thing for me was the things around Cristiano Ronaldo and what he said, how it was like for Ronaldo, because ultimately there is this constant desire from Manchester United fans for Manchester United to be successful. And you bring a player in that really is one of the most successful players that's ever played the game, and yet still he cannot get players around him to respond and step up to the plate, and that must be really, 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 really difficult. So yeah. Also, you might have seen this. He'll be playing tonight. We're going to watch Scooby-Doo. Could score a goal again, but Scott McTominay has been speaking, and he said he made some interesting comments. And I suppose the most interesting one is this. He said, the way I see it now is that I grew maybe 4 years after everyone else. So my peak years are going to be 4 years later as well. So I'm 26 now and my body age is technically 22. When I'm 30, I might feel like I'm 26 and I might retire at 38 or 40. Yeah, don't actually know what he's talking about there. So basically he's 4 years behind everybody else. So he's not 26. He's still a young player and we've got to give him more time. That's Scott McTominay, but I'm pretty sure it feels like McTominay's been playing, he's on my screen at the moment, it feels like McTominay's been playing for Man United for 10 years. So what's he saying? He's been playing at the club since he was 9 for the first team. Yeah, waffle doggy, such a friendly dog, such a lovely dog to walk. I don't know. Seb watches that. But no, it's complete and utter waffle. I mean, what sort of crap is that? I don't care if you're 19 or 39. Stop making excuses about your bloody prime and being 4 years behind everybody else. You're either good enough or you're not good enough. I think you're good enough for Scotland in international games because international football is crap. But you ain't good enough to play for Manchester United. And I don't think you ever will be. And if you prove me wrong, I'll admit it. And I think everybody else will do. But not good enough, in my opinion. Jesse Lingard and Scott McTominay may rarely be sharing lots of creative ideas. No way this guy wants to stay as a youngster until he's 30, says Mario Franco. If you're tuning in a little bit late, Jadon Sancho has finally deleted the tweet. Who would have thought we would be so obsessed with a tweet? But Jadon Sancho's tweet, where he basically called Ten Hag out for not telling the truth, has finally been deleted. And I suppose that's one item that we can cross off and say has been resolved tonight. We can finally move on from it and move forward. And I think that's a really important thing because you know what? Tomorrow the international break's over and we move forward. Are you looking forward to the England game, Mark? No. I almost... look, I want to beat Scotland. Sorry to anybody who's Scottish, but it's a game. I don't even like international football, and I certainly don't like Southgate's England, but I want them to win tonight. I don't want to lose. Imagine if we lose to a Scott McTominay goal. He knows how important this game is tonight because if he plays well, he can be like, look at me, look at me. He doesn't even speak with a Scottish accent. He's been overhyped to ridiculous levels. Ali McCoist, who is a decent pundit, says he can't understand why Scott McTominay doesn't start for Manchester United. Well, that's the statement of somebody who doesn't understand football. And Ali certainly does understand football. Look, maybe it's patriotic blinkered glasses, but who we dropping for Scott McTominay, Ali? This is the thing. I don't think sometimes people think before they speak. Like, I can't believe he's not getting games for Manchester United. I can't believe you can't figure out why he's not getting games for Man United. Who are we going to drop? Casemiro, Bruno Fernandes, Christian Eriksen, Amrabat, Mason Mount. Who are we going to... I mean, look, this is the stupid thing. People just spout shit. I heard somebody the other day saying Jared Bowen should be in the England squad. For who? Like, you can't just say this should be this, that should be that. Like, it's lazy. Get back to bed and have some more sleep and wake up with a better idea. I can't believe he's not starting for Man United. Take it further then. Show us you've got some knowledge. Show us you watch Man United. Why don't you say something like, I can't believe Scott McTominay's not starting ahead of Bruno Fernandes. And then we can all have a big old laugh. Laughter is a great medicine. But you can't just say, I can't believe Scott McTominay's not starting for Manchester United when he's been shit for a year and the only thing he's good at is scoring goals for Scotland. Who are we dropping him for? That's what I want to know. I don't mind if people want to put Scott McTominay in a Man United starting lineup. But pray tell us, who are we dropping? Marcus Rashford? Are we going to drop him? Are we dropping fucking Bruno? Who are we dropping for Scott McTominay? Because the only thing he does well is score goals. So where's he playing? Who are we dropping him for? Because I tell you what, if we're dropping him for Rashford or Bruno, I could do with a bloody good laugh. I really could. Soonest raving about McTominay, but slanders Casemiro, says Will. I think they do it on purpose. You know, I think they do it on purpose. It'd be funny if McTominay scores tonight. That's what we want to see. Who would you start on the right side at the moment and why, says Cade? I think for me at the moment, 100% would normally be Anthony, but he's not in the team. And I think that would be Ten Hag's choice, more importantly. However, I think at the moment, it would have to be Pellistri. Yeah, it would have to be Pellistri for me. Yeah, without a shadow of a doubt. Yeah. Anyway, I need to set up my stream for That's Football. We're going to be live at 7:30 in about 4 minutes' time. So you can join me for that. But a very interesting update tonight around Jadon Sancho. I'm convinced there will be an update from Manchester United about it. But make sure you subscribe and smash a like as usual. Don't forget to check out Boohoo Man. Links in the description and you can scan the QR code. And we're going to be live. Scooby-Doo. I don't think Harry Maguire's starting, actually. It could have been the two unambitious players that shouldn't be at our club playing against each other finally getting some minutes. They'll probably be just holding hands going, yes, we're finally playing football. But apparently Maguire is not starting for England, but Scott McTominay is. Lou later says, I love the podcast. Make sure you give it a download. It's actually in the video description of the That's Football thing. Brand new episode out today. Special guest on, Angry Ginge. So make sure you check that out. And I will see you over on That's Football in a couple of minutes. See you over there. Thanks for watching.